A special announcement coming your way. And Recruiting Basics Part 7, Foundations for Athletic Scholarship Success. This is the Recruit Me Athletic Scholarship Podcast, episode number 203. Welcome to the world's longest running podcast on recruiting and athletic scholarships. I'm Jon Fugler. As an athletic scholarship coach and a recruiting author, I want to help you as a family succeed in the recruiting world and get a scholarship for your student athlete. I'm the dad of 2 scholarship athletes myself and also the founder of Recruit Me. Action produces traction, so this 15-minute podcast will help you do just that. It'll change your scholarship future. You can find every episode, by the way, on your favorite podcast app or on my website at recruitme.com. And be sure to check out Recruit Me 3.0 at recruitme.com/system. It's the new Recruit Me Athletic Scholarship System. We are rolling along here. We're on a journey together. If you've joined me the last 6 episodes, and you know we've been laying the groundwork, the foundation for your athletic scholarship success. And you've been isolated, you've been locked down and all that. You've had time to plan. You've had time to get your act together, and well, we're gonna head out together, right? And you'll be getting assignments each week. I've asked you to do certain things, and hopefully you have done those things. You've been following through, kind of like homework. And did you get your homework done from this past week? Did you do that? Go back and listen to the last episode and see if you got it done, right? No, you know whether you got your homework done or not. And I trust you did, all right? I trust you did. If you haven't heard the last couple episodes or the series of 6 so far, please go back and listen. One builds on the other. And this week, as I said, I've got a very, very important and special announcement. And we're going to get to that after I give you this foundation. I want to get this done, give you the content, and then I think this is going to surprise a lot of people. But we're going to do it, okay? Let's get into this week's content and the foundation for athletic scholarship success. Now, you've got interest from college coaches. If you've done the steps I've talked to you about, they're emailing, they're calling, they're texting, or a combination of those. They're recruiting you. All right? It doesn't mean, though, that they'll stay interested. It's not a one-and-done type of thing. If you don't continue the conversation, they'll move on to other recruits. You'll get lost and forgotten. If you lose interest, they're going to lose interest in you. That's a sad thing because you put in so much time and effort to get the coach's attention. If you've gone through the steps I've talked to you about already, you know that it's a lot of work. And you put in a lot of work. Well, you're just getting started here. And now you get to reap the rewards, the benefits of putting in all that work. Keeping a coach's interest is a highly strategic part of the recruiting process. Coaches want to recruit athletes that have an interest in their program. They don't want to chase you down. They want to pursue athletes that continue to express interest. So I encourage you not to believe the lie that coaches will be coming after you based on your talent alone. That's not going to happen. Talent plus interest equals a prime recruit. You need to continue communicating with coaches. After a certain date, depending on your sport and what year you are in high school, they're permitted to call you, and some will. Although they're limited by how often they can call you, you're allowed to call them during that time. That phone calls are allowed either way. And I encourage you, as I have in the past, to go to the NCAA website and look up the recruiting calendars. That's a really important task. You got to have your dates in order. So your expectations. Oh, I almost lost my studio here. My monitor almost came tumbling down on me. It would have been the end of the podcast. Oh my gosh. I get too excited here. Recruiting's an exciting thing. So almost came crashing down. I could edit that out, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it in there. So make sure you stay in touch with the coaches. Be proactive about that, just like you've been so far. Remember, if you stop communicating with the coaches, they'll assume you've lost interest. They'll stop communicating with you. So respond to every piece of communication, their emails, their phone calls, their texts. Even if you don't have much interest in the school, remember what I said a couple weeks ago? Cast your net wide. You don't know how this thing's going to end up. You don't want to cut off the options you have out there. Don't eliminate things. So here is the best way to keep in touch with coaches. There's a system, and that's why we call it the Recruit Me system. The system that you have will be your best friend. And what you want to do is you want to send regular updates to coaches. You've got maybe 10, 15, 20 coaches that you are in conversation with. You can send them all the same update. We've talked about personalizing communication. Well, you're at the point right now that you can send the same update to all the coaches. And what it is, for instance, after every season, you should definitely send an update. It shows you're still interested when you send them these, again, one-page updates at key intervals, like after every season. For instance, I remember Bob. He's a parent, and he was diligent in keeping coaches' interest in his daughter. He informed coaches of where a club and high school teams were playing by sending the coaches schedules in advance. So that's one way of updating. After his daughter competed in some showcase tournaments, she started to get feedback from coaches. They heard from coaches ranging from D1 to D3. Bob said this. He said, most of these contacts from coaches were from a result of us writing them and letting them know where she would play and keeping that line of communication open. So let's take a lesson from Bob on how to keep the relationship alive. As I mentioned, I encourage you to send an update at least at the end of each high school and club season. Now, as Bob did, they sent schedules out in advance. So there's another way that you can be in touch with coaches. You don't just want to send, trivial information. The update should contain vital information that they could add to your account, like SAT scores, ACT scores. When you get those back, send those along to coaches. But you want to send the update that provides highlights of the season at the end of a season. Updating your stats shows the coaches you're still interested in their program. So as I mentioned, Bob sent the schedule. His daughter sent the schedule in advance, and that's fantastic. You want to do that as well. But the one-page update is really simple. It's simpler than any other of the things that I've taught you in so far. But the one-page update is an opportunity for you to highlight the successes and bring the coach current on your athletic and academic achievements, or your son or daughter's athletic and academic achievements. Again, you can attach this as an attached file to an email, and you just send it off to the coach. You've got his or her email address already. The conversation has already been going. And some of the things you can do, it's just I like to keep it as a bullet point format. Maybe up at the top, this one page, you say, please add this information to my file. And you have your name and city and state, and you say, these are, say, my spring and summer highlights from 2020. All right, so you got that, and you're sending it to the coaches. So at the top, your name, your city and state, and as I mentioned, the heading that you want as highlights for whatever year, whatever season that is. So underneath that, you could put your current GPA. Coaches love to see success here. Any academic honors during the year, athletic highlights during the year, athletic awards and achievements that you've achieved during that season, and your stats from this latest season, and other vital information on your achievements or competitiveness that could be in a narrative form. For instance, my son put resumed catching in the final third of the summer season after a full recovery from a knee injury a year ago. I started several games at that position and could be the team's number one catcher this fall, in addition to pitching. So that's a narrative that you can insert in there. It's not a stat, and you just want to provide 2 or 3 highlights like that, and any special moments that you had in the year, and then your address and phone number at the bottom, email address, just so they're updated on that. So that would be a one-page update that you can send at the end of a season. I've got in the Recruit Me system, there's samples of this. There's also samples in my athletic scholarship playbook. There's a sample in there so you can see what I'm talking about. But it's the best way as you send updates to show your continued interest and have the coaches update your file. Of course, at the end of a season, you've got a lot of things to say. But maybe there's just 1 or 2 things that you have to say to coaches. As I mentioned earlier, SAT or ACT scores, that could be in itself a single update. That's important enough. Maybe you have a GPA update that you want to send to coaches. Put that in there. That could come at the end of a season, of course. Any athletic or academic honors that you want to make coaches aware of, well, you can shoot that off to them as well. Or as Bob did, the schedule for an upcoming season. So those are different things that you can send to coaches as updates. It doesn't have to be a postseason report. It's just information that will help the coach know that you're making progress and there are some things that they want to add to your file. You won't have a full sheet to fill, of course, in all situations. Just send a quick email. In fact, you don't even need to use an attached file if you don't want to. If it's just a short note to the coach indicating, say, your test scores or your GPA update. Send a narrative email to the coach and let them know about that. So that's a foundation. That is what keeps the interest going. You get this into a system so that at the end of every season, or if you're sending schedules out before the season, you just send it out to all the coaches. So you covered everybody in that, and they stay updated. So I'd encourage you to do that as you move along in the athletic scholarship process, the recruiting process. Next week, it's part 8. It's the final part of this Foundations series, basics that you need to know for athletic scholarship success. Next week's the last one. Don't miss that. Well, speaking of not missing something, as we come down to the end of this episode, I have got a very, very special announcement to make and someone to introduce to you. Recruit Me was founded back in 2002. Ron Johnston and I put this together as a result of my experience really with our twin sons, as you may know my story, in working through this whole process with them till they got fully paid educations at the school of their choice. And since then, I've been helping thousands of families do that, and it has been a rewarding experience. It's been fun. It's been exciting. And I got to tell you, have had some great conversations with parents and athletes through the years. Well, there's some time when you just need to hang up the cleats, so to speak. And that time has come for me. I am retiring from Recruit Me. Yeah, I'm doing that. And it's not going to just be all of a sudden retiring. No, I'm going into retirement. But I am so thankful that there's a gentleman that I believe God has brought into the picture right now who is going to continue this heritage of Recruit Me. And this man is in a position now that I was when our kids were going through this process. In fact, he's a little bit further. He knows a lot more now than I knew then. Brent Hanks is a man who has 2 sons, one who is competing at a D1 school. You're going to meet Brent in just a moment. And another son who is in high school. And Brent has gone through this process with one son, going through with another, and has actually been teaching other parents as well. Brent is, I've known Brent for a couple years now, and we've conversed a lot over the years, last couple years. You heard him on a past episode of the Athletic Scholarship Podcast. And so Brent, as I retire, is coming in as the new CEO of Recruit Me. And man, he is going to take it to the next level, and I want to give you a chance to meet him right now. So I'm going to get Brent on the line here on this Zoom call, and we will go ahead and get a chance to talk together, and you get a chance to meet Brent, okay? Brent, welcome back to the Athletic Scholarship Podcast.
Well, thanks for having me, John.
You're in a new role right now. You're the boss now.
I guess so. So we've kind of reversed it, haven't we?
We have. So, and I just in briefing our audience the fact that I'm in retirement mode, moving into retirement, and I'm so excited about you coming on as CEO. And you are really in the thick of this with your 2 boys, aren't you?
Yeah, it's been fun to kind of review what we did with my older son Parker, that's at Northwestern. Of course, with the COVID, he didn't get to do much this spring, but and then Sutton is a 16-year-old. He's going to be a junior in high school, and so he's on a travel baseball team, and so we're working through the process right now.
And you've been actually teaching other families. You even got a group there going locally where you're collaborating and you're passing on some of the recruit me instruction and have been for a while.
Yeah, as you go through it, and one of the things that you learn through the recruit me process is if you had somebody that was halfway successful, which we were halfway successful, um, then ask them. And so I've had some people ask, and I've offered some advice to some people, and just was pointing back at you. And then whenever the opportunity came that you wanted to step back, it was a good fit.
Man, you were right where we were. In fact, further along than we were 20 years ago with our boys. You've got one son that you got into college, D1 school there. You got another one who's on the way. So you're actually much more knowledgeable than I was when I started in this, and that's why I'm really thrilled to pass on Recruit Me to you. It's going to be in good hands. And so I'm sitting here in North Carolina, and let our listeners know where you are.
Well, I'm in Ozark, Missouri, which is in the southwest corner of Missouri, down close to Arkansas, close to Oklahoma, close to Kansas. We're close to a lot of things. So we're in the flyover area of the United States, and a great sports indoor and outdoor. Great basketball here, great baseball, great fishing. We even have rodeo. We have rodeo teams here, so I get to hit a lot of people. I think with the Recruit Me for a lot of different sports and activities.
I'm really envious of you, and I know many of our listeners are, with so much of the country still closed down and sports not happening really in a lot of areas. But for you, you're heading out to a game today, and then you're traveling next weekend. Tell us, it's not closed there where you're at.
No, Missouri's been lucky where this is our fourth weekend of baseball, and so my younger son Sutton is playing with an organization, and they've had to stay pretty local here the first 2 or 3 weeks, and then we're going to go to Melissa, Texas, and then I think we go to Louisville, go to Tulsa, and we'll go to Lubbock, Texas later in the year. And then Parker's getting to play in a collegiate league, and it's one of the few collegiate leagues that's actually playing baseball right now.
Well, you are in the thick of it, which is what I'm also excited about, is that because I've been so removed from it with our boys, you're right there and you're experiencing a lot of the things that families are experiencing today, Recruit Me families. And I think you're going to be a great resource and leader, advisor and coach for those families who are trying to navigate this recruiting road. You're doing it well. Give us your vision, your hope as you step into this role. It officially just happened a few days ago.
I think you cashed a check.
What do you? I know. What does it look like for you? What are you thinking about Recruit Me and about these families?
Well, the advantage of the Recruit Me system that you've put together is I don't have to do a whole lot. I just have to kind of get the information out to people, because it's not it's more of a situation where if the people get the information, they can walk through step by step and follow the process. We found, again, in our recruiting adventure with Parker, is if we kind of could just send out information and have some organization, then we were in good shape, and it turned out good. And your system, or my system now, does that in a very easy way to do it. And then I'm hoping to just keep reaching out to people and making sure that there's free information out there. We do have some information that they can buy that's a little bit more compressed there a little bit, where they can have it all in one bite. Do the podcast. I want to continue with the podcast to give 15 minutes of information, weekly, to people, and it's something they can listen to on their trips to ball games if they want to, or if they're mowing. That's where I learned a lot. When I'm mowing, I try to listen to some sort of a podcast.
Now, you are really committed to personal instruction. You're going to be doing some group presentations there locally. I didn't get into that as much. I did some of that, but that really is a core of what you want to do. You want to get face to face with people, don't you?
I do, and luckily I know enough people because I'm in the middle of it right now, where Sutton's teammates are in the process of wanting help or needing help. I just know a lot of people in our area, so I know a lot of coaches. So I'm going to try to do that kind of locally to get the word out. But I'm not going to obviously ignore anybody that's in Arizona or state of Washington. If you want some information, I want you to use the Recruit Me system to help your student athlete.
Well, you can reach Brent at recruitme.com. I'm so glad that your name is easy to remember and easy to spell.
Yeah. I was lucky with that all through school.
Yeah, I did, even before email was even considered. So Brent at recruit-me.com. Brent will be taking over as leading and hosting this podcast. We're going to be back again together next week, and we're going to together give you that eighth piece of the Foundations of Athletic Scholarship Success, gone through 7. I encourage you to listen to this entire series, and then Brent and I will give you number 8 next week as we co-host the Athletic Scholarship Podcast here for at least next week. But I know you got some other guests you're bringing on too of the podcast. I've talked to you, and you've got those people in mind. That's going to be kind of exciting.
Yeah, I've got a list of some parents. I've got a list of a couple athletic directors, one from a junior college, one from a small NAIA school. I've got some coaches that I want to bring on, and I'm going to check on some actual student athletes that are in college, making sure that eligibility wise we can do that. But I have one that lives in my house right now that I can probably talk to.
I love it. Brent Hanks, a dad of 2 athletes, one at a D1 school, the other in high school and on his way to competing at the next level. And he is now the new CEO of Recruit Me, continuing the heritage and taking it to the next level there to serve you as parents and as athletes. Well, Brent, we'll get on together next week and provide 15 more minutes. Went a little bit over time this time because this is a big week, big announcement, and we wanted to make sure we introduced you as well as covered the content very well in this episode. But let's do it again next week.
I'll be ready, John.
Okay. Take care, and we'll talk to you all next week.